Have you ever sat in class, knowing you're smart enough to succeed, but somehow you just don't? Maybe you understand the material when the teacher explains it, but you never study at home. Maybe you tell yourself, I'll do it later, until it's too late. Or maybe you've accepted that you're just not a school person, even though deep down, you know you're capable of more. Here's what I want you to know. The difference between failing students and straight A students isn't intelligence. It's not even hard work. It's one question. This is the story of a young man named Jason, who was failing every class in his junior year, until his professor asked him one question that changed everything. 2 years later, he graduated with a 3.9 GPA and a full scholarship to graduate school. Stay with me. Because if you've ever felt like you're wasting your potential, this question might save your academic life. In a mid-sized state university, where thousands of students chased their futures, there was a 20-year-old engineering major named Jason Park. Jason wasn't dumb. In fact, when he paid attention in class, he understood concepts faster than most of his peers. His high school teachers had called him gifted. His SAT scores were in the top 10%. But by his junior year of college, Jason was failing, not struggling, failing. His routine was the same every semester. Week 1, attend classes, tell himself, this semester will be different. Week 2 to 3, start skipping morning classes. I'll catch up later. Week 4 to 8, stop attending altogether. I'll just study the textbook before exams. Week 9 to 12, panic, cram the night before, fail the exam every semester. The same cycle. His GPA was 1.8. He was on academic probation. The university had sent him 2 warning letters: improve your grades or face suspension. His parents, immigrants who had worked overtime shifts for years to afford his education, called every week. Jason, how are your classes going? Good, Mom. Everything's fine. He was lying. The truth that haunted Jason wasn't that he was failing. It was that he knew he could succeed if he just tried. But he couldn't make himself try. Every morning, his alarm rang at 7 a.m. Every morning he hit snooze and thought, just today, I'll skip. I'll catch up tomorrow. Tomorrow never came. His roommate, Mike, studied every night and maintained a 3.5 GPA. Jason would watch Mike at his desk and feel a mixture of shame and resentment. Must be nice to be naturally disciplined, Jason thought. Some people just have it. I don't. One November evening, Jason's phone rang. His mother. Jason, we just received an email from the university. It says you're failing 3 classes. 3 classes. Is this true? Jason's stomach dropped. I can fix it, Mom. I just need... You've been saying that for 2 years. Her voice cracked. Jason, do you know how hard your father and I work? Do you know what we sacrifice? Maybe college isn't for you, she said quietly. Maybe you should come home, get a job. We can't keep paying for you to waste time. She hung up. Jason sat on his bed, the phone still in his hand, his chest tight with shame. For the first time, he faced the truth. He wasn't a victim of circumstances. He was choosing this. Every day, he was choosing failure. The next morning, Jason went to his professor's office hours. Professor Martinez taught engineering thermodynamics, the hardest class in the program. She was in her 50s, known for being demanding, but fair. He knocked on her office door. Come in, her voice called. Jason entered. Professor Martinez looked up from her laptop. Jason Park, I was wondering when you'd show up. I wanted to talk about my grade. Jason stammered. You're failing, she said simply. You've attended 4 classes out of 23. You scored 23% on the midterm. She looked directly at him. So my question is, why are you here? I need to pass this class. If I fail, I'll be suspended. That's not what I asked. I asked why you're here, at my office, today. Why now? Jason felt the weight of her question. Because I can't fail anymore. My parents. Your parents? Professor Martinez leaned back. Jason, let me be direct. I've been teaching for 26 years. I've seen hundreds of students like you, smart, capable, lazy. And you know what they all have in common? Jason said nothing. They come to my office in week 11, panicking, asking for extra credit. And they all have the same excuse: their parents, their circumstances, their stress. But none of them have the real answer. What's the real answer? Jason asked quietly. Professor Martinez stood up and wrote one sentence on her whiteboard in large letters. Who do you want to be? She turned to face him. Not what do you want to achieve. Not what grades do you need. Who do you want to be? Jason stared at the question. I don't understand. Jason, you know what I see? I see a young man who has built his entire identity around being the guy who doesn't try. You don't study because if you studied and still failed, you'd have to admit you're not as smart as you think. It protects your ego. Jason's throat tightened. She was right. But is that who you want to be? The smart, lazy guy? The one with potential who never does anything with it? Or do you want to be someone different? Someone who shows up? Someone who tries? Someone who fails sometimes but never quits? She tapped the whiteboard. Go home. Think about that. And when you have a real answer, not what sounds good, but what's true, come back. Then we'll talk. That night, Jason sat at his desk with a blank piece of paper. Who do you want to be? He wrote answers and crossed them out. Someone successful. Too vague. A good son. At 1 a.m., Jason wrote one sentence that felt true. I want to be someone who doesn't give up on himself. He realized, every time he hit snooze, he was giving up on himself. Every class he skipped, he was giving up on himself. The smart, lazy guy was just a result of 1,000 small moments of giving up. He wrote a second sentence. Starting tomorrow, I am someone who shows up. The next morning, the alarm rang at 7 a.m. Every fiber of his being wanted to hit snooze, but he remembered his answer. He got up, he went to class, he sat in the front row. After class, he told Professor Martinez, I want to be someone who doesn't give up on himself, someone who shows up. She smiled. Good. Now the work begins. The rebuilding was hard. Professor Martinez told him, you might not pass this semester, but you'll build the foundation for next. Jason followed the plan. Week 3, he understood 30% of lectures, but he showed up. Week 7, he understood 70%, actually enjoyed learning. Week 10, Jason scored 78% on the final exam. When he got his final grade, a C, he didn't feel defeated. He felt proud. For the first time in years, he had shown up. Consistently. I didn't save you, Professor Martinez told him. You saved yourself. You lived the answer. That C in thermodynamics was the turning point. The next semester, Jason applied the same principle. Who do I want to be? Someone who shows up. 7 a.m. alarm. No negotiation. Front row, no excuses. His GPA rose to 3.4, then 3.7, then 3.8. By senior year, Jason was unrecognizable. He was a teaching assistant for the class he had nearly failed. When he applied to graduate school, he wrote his essay about that one question. On graduation day, Jason walked across the stage with a 3.9 GPA in his final year and a full scholarship to a top-tier graduate program. His mother hugged him. "I'm so proud of you." "I'm proud of me too, Mom." Before leaving, he visited Professor Martinez one last time. "I'm going to become a professor," he said, "and I'm going to ask struggling students the same question you asked me." She smiled. "The question isn't magic, Jason. The magic is in answering it honestly and then living that answer every single day. My friend, if you're watching this, maybe you're like Jason was, smart enough to succeed, but somehow not. Maybe you're scrolling through your phone instead of studying. Let me ask you, who do you want to be? Not what job you want. Who do you want to be? Do you want to be someone who gives up on yourself? Or someone who shows up? Do you want to be someone who makes excuses? Or someone who takes responsibility? Discipline is not a personality trait. It's a decision you make about who you want to be. Tonight, take a piece of paper. Write, "Who do I want to be?" Write your honest answer. Then write, "Tomorrow, I am someone who..." Fill in that blank. And then tomorrow morning, be that person. Not forever, just tomorrow. I can't promise you straight A's, but I can promise this. If you wake up every day and choose to be someone who shows up, 1 year from now, you won't recognize the person you used to be. If this story hit you, hit that like button, not for me, but as a promise to yourself. Drop a comment and finish this sentence. Tomorrow, I am someone who... I'll reply to as many as I can. Share this with a friend who's struggling and subscribe for more stories of transformation. Remember, the question isn't magic. The magic is in living the answer. Who do you want to be? Your answer will define your life. Choose wisely. Then live that choice.